Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. This is the biggest retail season, bar none. And this year it's quite interesting. We have a bunch of crunches going on. First of all, there's the economic crunch, which everybody is feeling, unless you're lucky enough to work in certain industries. Everybody else is starting to shut down. The key sector this impacts is the retail sector. Now, some of you might be out there saying, but I buy everything online. And I'm sure you do. But we've had this issue online, and I'm not the only one, where you go to buy whatever it is, whether it's for yourself or for your partner, whatever it is, you go to click on the link and it says out of stock. Well, yes. Remember that big shipping kerfuffle at all the major ports where they were parking boats for miles off seas so they couldn't get in and take their containers off? This is where we suffer. And it's an actually entertaining little ploy to keep the retail businesses alive. How so? Let me explain. Most people in North America are kind of trained to shop when the bargains are there. You look through the flyers. Well, people still do get flyers. Yes, I do get some. People look online. Again, people do that. And then you decide where the best place is to pick up your packet of choice. And then you order it. Well, if the warehouse is out of stock, the only choice you have to go is to go to the retailers and hope they have stuff in stock. And then you wind up, say you have that perfect gift lined up for your significant other, for your children, whatever the case might be. And so now you have to start going from store to store, looking for that Lego box, looking for that doll set, looking for whatever it is that you might be looking for. And this shapes the economics of fear. Oh my God, it's out of stock. Oh my God, I can't find it here. Oh my God, I can't find it there. Oh my God, oh my God. And then people whip themselves into this weird sort of buying frenzy. It's kind of this unique psychological tactic that's being employed. For what it's worth, the supply chain has broken down. And if you know anything, those words being strung together should scare the dickens out of anybody. The supply chain has broken down. So if the supply chain is broken down and people are not getting what they need and what they want, what's happening to sellers? Well, simply put, if you don't have the product, you can't make a sale. So in January, when they post their profits and all that sort of stuff, all the retailers are going to come out and say, we didn't make as much as we thought we would this year. And yeah, that's to be expected, because all that traffic offshore where they couldn't offload the ports is coming back to bite us now. All that stuff that would have been on the shelves is gone. All that stuff that should have been in the grocery stores, I haven't done any research into that, but I'm sure if I look into it, it's going to be a train wreck. I'm sure lots of stuff had to be thrown out because even though it's frozen or at room temperature, let's look at bananas and pineapples. Bananas and pineapples do not last forever. And the grocery stores tend to order a couple months in advance because over the past couple hundred years, grocery stores have it down to a science what they need and when. Sure, there might be a run on a particular product, but they generally know how many people buy pineapples on December 15th. They'll look back, they'll have the models, and they'll be able to make a good guess. That's just how retail works. Subway, they don't really know how much bread people are going to order on a given day, but they have charts, they have indices that they can go back 20 years, however long a franchisee has been open, and say, okay, on this day for the past 20 years, we have sold 120 slices of honey, oat, whatever. I don't know what bread Subway has anymore. I'm sorry, but they know that very well. Retailers are no dummies. When you have a pretty big store and you have hundreds, if not thousands of items, you need to have an inventory of every single one. Because if you don't, again, a missed sale means no money in the cash register. And that's something retailers really need to look out about. Amazon, I have been surprised, Amazon and eBay both, about how little things there are. Unfortunately, Silverlight hates going to shopping malls. I hate navigating the traffic this time of year. It's a dog's breakfast getting in and out of the store, let alone finding what you want. Just getting in the mall is a pain in the butt. So I have always had my shopping wound up by November. And if I don't have something for you by November, it ain't happening. Call me pig-headed, but why should I kill myself to get into a store, have my mirror knocked off again? I don't know why people like to knock their mirror off my car. I park very nicely, but anyways, this is not about parking. Back to retailers and supply chain. So, the retailers placed their orders, but the goods simply could not make it to them in time, not even to the warehouses. And this is going to key off a very interesting 2022. You see, if the warehouses don't have the goods in, then either we're going to expect some massive sales around January and February, which is going to be interesting if we have another lockdown, or they're simply going to cancel the orders. You think canceling the orders is bad, but realistically, it's an option that's in almost every single contract. They can order 10 million pens. And if those 10 million pens, if the contractor, whoever bought those 10 million pens off of them, doesn't buy them, or if they don't feel they're going to sell, most retail chains have some sort of an outlet where they can return them at a discount. And this is where you start getting stuff in the dollar stores. So are we going to see those massive, 10,000 piece Lego sets with Star Trek or Star Wars, whatever they have, in the dollar store? Most likely not, because those have a retail value to them. Those have a certain charm to them. But a lot of other things like canned goods are probably going to wind up in the dollar store because of all this. Now we're teaching our people this just-in-time shopping principle because the last couple of years with everything being shut down and scarcity everywhere, people start to go into panic buying mode. From what I hear, and I stand to be corrected, people are not panic buying toilet paper at the present time. That being said, everything else is up for grabs. Look at the prices. Again, I keep pointing to my good old bacon and celery index. And the prices for those are just astronomical. They would make a grown man cry, a grown woman cry, grown anybody cry. Because we're talking about basic stuff. Apples. I happen to live in a place where they produce a lot of apples, and dang, apples are expensive now. So when you see a sale, you got to kind of stock up. And you can't do that with any sort of fresh produce. The survival mentality teaches you got to have food in the house. And in a survival situation, any food will do. But they're purposely breaking our survival spirit down. My reserves over the past year or two have dwindled significantly. 2 years ago, I was prepared for this. Now, I'm a lot less so. And I suspect the true is the same, except for some extreme survivalists who are buying, the kitty litter bag full of compressed whatever food so that they could eat soup for the remainder of the apocalypse. But most of us are not in that situation. And retailers know it. Whether they're selling food, whether they're selling drugs, whatever they happen to be selling, it's not going to be pretty. And I have a feeling this is going to wind up with a cycle of job losses. Because if retailers can't keep people on, they got to downsize. They got to make sure their managers and vice presidents and presidents all have their bonuses. So downsizing might be a real possibility for retail. This is why self-checkout machines are becoming a real threat to people. Yes, it's a great idea that we have the minimum wage going up. Fantastic. This is ridiculously overdue. But the downside is companies use that as justification of why they cannot afford to keep a worker. And that's simply not true. I personally would rather deal with a human being, because if something messes up, the person is right there, they're dealing with you, and you can say, that cantaloupe is only supposed to be $2, it's over there. Okay, we'll get it solved right away. Whereas when you're dealing with a self-checkout, you got to hit the button, the attendant has to come over, you got to explain it, and then they got to go through the rigmarole that you could have had face-to-face. But retailers don't see that. Retailers see employees as a hindrance. They're there to suck up money that could be going to other people. And this is a horrible attitude to have during the holidays. Your employees are going through hell to keep you in business, so they should be your most treasured asset. But that's simply not the way things work. This is going to be a very interesting, and I'm pretty sure I said this last year. I haven't gone back on the archives, but I'm pretty sure I said this would be an interesting year to see what losses the retailers are posting, because it would actually be compared to 2020 when things sucked. The other problem we have is how people are going to celebrate their holiday season. I don't think there's a government in the world that's going to say you can't see your family this year, because they did that last year and nobody liked it. And they're putting in restrictions. Okay, 10 people to a household, we can live with that. If your family is so big that they have 20, 30 people coming over, unless you got like a ranch somewhere in the country, if you're a standard city dwelling like most people have, yeah, you shouldn't be having that many people over. That's just, unfortunately, a fire code hazard, and for bathroom space alone, it's not a good idea. But it'll be interesting to see how those laws start to become enforced. I'm not a jerk. If my neighbor decides to have a little party and has stuff over, as long as they're reasonable and not taking up all the parking, I'm not going to say squat. Not my business. But just last year, we had people who were hosting hundreds of people on a little tiny block. And that was during the height of the lockdown. So, the next couple of weeks are going to be worth paying attention to. Personally, Silverlight is going to take a little bit of vacation. I have some things lined up. On my other channel, I might be running some Discord streaming and, yeah, just basically kicking back and relaxing over the holiday season. And other than that, this is the holiday season. It's supposed to be about joy and celebration. Whether you're a Christian, Jewish person, whatever religion you have, this is the festival of lights. This is when the world is at its darkest. So try to remember to be the light in everybody else's life. You are the candle that fights off the darkness. Try not to become the darkness. And most importantly, try to remember that everybody out there is going through hell. Just absolute hell. So maybe if you have to, grit your teeth, bite your tongue. Remember that those people are people too. And your kindness is ultimately what reflects on you. We wish to thank you for joining us for this episode of the Silverlight Show. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit like, share, subscribe. Buy the merchandise, which are the books listed down in the comments under the Amazon link. And we hope you have a fantastic day.